Scheduled for 20 laps. That's not a lot of time to get things done.
No, and that's one of the problems a guy like Ryan Litt has is he's fairly deep in the field.
He'll start row 10 inside.
Yeah, 19th. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lineup and show you who is in this one. This open wheel Showdown Wing Sprint Car lineup provided by BR Motorsports. Kevin Newton out of Terre Haute, Indiana, the 16 TH will start on pole. Brett Alman out of Vancouver, British Columbia, in the 8 on the outside.
And Brian Gossel's number 6, it is the CJ Leary, the 2019 USAC Sprint Car National Champion. Is outside, third-generation racer Monty Bergener from Saratoga Springs, Utah.
Culver, Washington is where the 64 comes out of. It's ski maker TJ Sneva in the Sneva Manufacturing entry, and Ron Larson out of Quesnel, British Columbia, in the 12 alongside.
Mike Hathaway's beautiful black with a gold leaf number 27 on the wing comes from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He'll start inside row number 4. To his outside, Plymouth, Indiana's Tyler Roahrig, one of the winningest drivers recently in the last 3 years in sprint car racing on pavement without a wing. Will start back here to try to make his way forward. 2 spots out right now, the transfer.
One more row back. It's Randy Dubois out of Redmond, Washington, in the 02 on the inside. And West Jordan, Utah's Natalie Waters in the 1 on the outside.
Corey Lockwood getting the call, the Nampa, Idaho driver in the number 22 this time around. To his outside, the stud from Florida, J.J. Dutton out of Tampa, the 86. That black car will try to make his way forward. It's a beautiful piece. We'll see how far he gets in 20 laps.
Back to row 7, Anthony Offutt out of Portland, Oregon, in the 8A. On the inside, and Troy DeCare from Tampa, Florida, in the pretty P1.
Justin Kawahata went on his side on Friday. It's been a battle forward since then. We'll see if he can advance in that number 45 in Clovis, California. Brad Noffsinger back behind the wheel of a wing sprint car. It's the second time this year. In the 6N, that's Brian Gossel's other car out of Concord, North Carolina.
Jeff Wade all the way down from Seattle, Washington, in the 94W to line up on the inside with Ryan Litt out of London, Ontario, Canada, in the 07.
The other C main transfers include Tommy Nichols out of Tampa and Jeff Montgomery out of Langford, BC.
Then you've got Kyle Alberting on the inside from Winston, Oregon, Trevor Anderson out of Nampa, Idaho on the outside, and Richie Larson out of Prince George, British Columbia in the 22L rounding out the field.
Getting pushed off. First glance, Jeff Montgomery. Again, we talked about how far back he's going to start. Row 11 on the inside behind Ryan Litt. He also had a very fast car, but a rear tire deflated on him during his heat race. Ended up spinning to the infield and not finishing that run. That cost him big time. He had to come through the C-main as well. So, again, another top 10 qualifier. Didn't go right for him last night. He's prepared for today. Talked to him earlier today about how that advancement will go. He said, man, I just got to get everything perfect. These 20 laps will go by really fast. I have to get my car set where I can pass at will. He needs it. That's not going to be a long race, 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, if it stays green the whole way, it's going to be about 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you don't know. With everybody needing to make moves quickly, I'm sure there's going to be some aggressive attempts at passing here.
And that comes to trust as well. Our heat races, once they kind of got singled out, went pretty quickly. If there's an incident, it was usually a single car spin. I think we had a couple of incidents where it took out multiple cars from a single car spinning at the outset. It's a whole different ball game here.
When we ran those heat races, it was last night.
Yep.
Track, it was dark, lights were on. It was much colder. Track didn't have hardly any heat in it, I would think.
Kevin Newton will be our pole sitter. He has not been in a wing sprint car on pavement in 20 years. We'll see how he does here in holding on, not only to the win of this one, but he has to finish top 6. So the top 6 move on. CJ Leary looked really good in his sprint car yesterday. Just a matter of getting positioning, I think, in the heat race cost him a little bit. As he said, I'm learning a lot here this weekend. He just got asked last weekend when he's at the World Finals in Charlotte on his dirt wing sprint car to come here and race for Brian Gossel, who is still nursing injuries and healing from injuries suffered in a racing accident in the summertime.
It is shocking right now, Jim, looking across the racetrack. The flags are completely limp, just laying there almost. And if you were with us at all last night, boy, I mean, they were just shot out straight.
And they say in the Midwest, wait 5 minutes and the weather's going to change. This weather this weekend has proved just about everything short of snow or hail. We've got it all in a matter of 24 hours. Be careful
what you wish for.
I knew you were going to say something like that. Brian Aumann, he's got a good shot. Brad Aumann, excuse me, he's got a good shot. He finished 17th in the A last year. I think he might have come through the B main as well. Let's start on the front row of this one.
And there you see TJ in the Sneva Manufacturing 64. He is the nephew of Tom Sneva, the gas man of Indy 500 and IndyCar fame. Super modified standout as well, of course, Tom Sneva. And TJ does make skis. That's his business. That's what Sneva Manufacturing does.
Not a school teacher like Uncle Tom.
No, and he said he's got to rush home because ski season opens next week back home in Washington, so he's ready to go. Got some new boards to try out.
That is so cool. He's racing here with these big sprint cars. I call them big. I talked to several drivers today, and I said, I have to be honest with you. You have to be half crazy to drive one of these. He said, yep. Each of these drivers quickly said, yep, you're right.
I've driven a 410 wing sprint car on dirt a handful of times. I cannot imagine, after having done that, driving one on pavement is like.
The immediacy, and CJ Leary talked about the adjustments. He's been racing a lot of open wheel non-wing stuff when it comes to midgets, sprint cars, silver crown cars, even on pavement, but he said this is a whole different animal. That dirty air is so upsetting. That big wing pushing that air around when you're on other cars, it gets really can be a handful, not to mention the traction and the speeds you're going. These cars suck down on the racetrack with all that downforce. He said corner entry is a lot different. I got to keep on the gas in the corner rather than let off and set the car on dirt.
Yep. We're about to see them all in action here with our B feature. Again, scheduled for 20 laps, getting ready to send a few to the back of the A.
6 go, the rest go home.
All right, here we go. Coming off of 4, waiting the green. Here we go. Still side by side as we go down the back straightaway now, just starting to separate a little bit. Then we're right back to side by side on the entry to 3. Ooh. Great racing between our top 2.
Newton went up the racetrack, but Aumann had nothing to do with it. The driver out of BC takes the lead here off of turn 2.
Aumann to the front, Newton hanging there with him, and then closing in quickly is CJ Leary. And Leary's in a transfer position because, as you said, Jim, we're taking the top 6. Leary gets by to take over second. Sneva holds the final transfer right now with Roahrig right on his tail.
Newman went wide in turn 2 in a blink of an eye. There went CJ Leary up to second. Furious pace.
And Litt has moved up a few spaces, but he's still got a long way to go. Litt has moved up to 12. Looks like he just got 11th. It'll change when they cross the line.
Here's the battle for the transfer. The 64 of Sneva, the 41 of Roahrig.
But Litt's got to get at least another 5. Here comes one more. That'll be 10 for Litt. As we continue to watch this battle here with Roahrig and Sneva right there. Sneva in the 64, Roahrig in the 41, and Sneva putting pressure on Lampson.
Ryan Litt is flying around this racetrack, made an outside move for one more spot as he comes across the line at 07. Up to 10th.
So it's Aumann, Leary, Newton, Bergener, Larson, Sneva, Roahrig. Sneva holding the final spot, and the yellow is out as one car is around over in turn number 2.
J.J. Dutton.
Yep, the 86 who was running 12th.
We got a chance now to give proper perspective to this awesome paint job. That carbon fiber honeycomb, the detail, the effort. JJ puts on a show in Tampa, Florida. One of the Florida veterans racing here in the open wheel showdown for the 2nd straight year. Went around in turn number 2. I was watching Ryan Litt as well. Natalie Waters knew he was coming. She got a little bit of pressure, and he was right on her. He's coming, and he needed this caution.
He did, because we have already ticked off, 7 laps? So we got 13 left. Litt now back in 11th. He's got to get to 6th. So if he can get the jump here, might get a couple more on the start. Let's go down to Ashton.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to catch up with the pole sitter of the B main, the Newton in the 16 car. He said he was really confident about how his car was reacting, but he needed to find more speed. He said he thought that he was going to be able to race really well, but it's not necessarily paying off for him right now, but he's going to pick the inside. He was very comfortable on the inside, but worried about how that race car is going to react on the outside line.
And in the proverbial cat seat, too, might be CJ Leary in that 6, Jim. He's in 2nd right now. If he can get the jump, this might be a great opportunity to take that lead away.
He's been racing national sprint cars or midgets for 11 years. He's only 27 years old. He knows what is at hand here. If he can win this thing, he'll get the inside of that row that will determine the last 3 rows transferring into the A, but this is going to be important for Leary. He knows what he has. They actually worked through a couple of issues yesterday, or actually out from the Thursday optional practice. Friday was the official first day. I talked to him Friday morning. He said, yeah, we had a couple things last night, and I need to get more comfortable. And certainly it's gaining, I think, lap by lap. This B-main, I think, is going to help CJ Leary if and when he gets to the A. Monty Bergener running back there in the number 12 car. Again, we talked about how he races in Utah. I said, this place reminds me of a track that closed in 2018. He raced a bunch called Rocky Mountain Speedway. It was high banked. He said it was like a smaller Irwindale. I was talking to him and his dad this morning about how to get around this place and what they had to do. And last year, Monty got to race up to 11th in the A main a year ago. I said, what'd you guys all change? He said, man, my setup from last year, forget it. The track's different. I've got a lot more technology in my mind of what we needed for this track. We came with a whole new setup. So Monty's looking to move forward as well.
You'll see the 6 roll by here in just a second. Brad Noffsinger. He's moved up a few spots, Jim, but he's still a ways away from getting into a transfer spot. There's Brad right there.
You've been around Brad a long time. He's moved to Charlotte when he started racing in NASCAR, but he's also been very, very present, I would say. Whether it be with Richard Petty Driving School or being around racing, he's just a great guy to be around. Ralph, what were his comments or his impressions about getting a chance to race this car for real after just the trial run in Colorado this summer?
Yeah, at first he thought they were just coming to have some fun. Then he realized they were coming to actually go racing. He's like, man, 100 laps, that's going to be tough on the old neck, hanging onto one of these sprint cars for that many laps. So he was a little concerned about that, and to be honest, he was also concerned about just getting into the A. He knew how tough this field was going to be, as he is finding out here right now. He's about halfway back in the pack with a bunch of good cars in front of him, needing quite a few spots if he wants to get into that A.
Unofficially restarting here in 12th is Noffsinger.
Yeah, and he's got to get at least 6 spots, right?
We're making some adjustments to the lineup here. Moving that yellow number 12 a few spots back. Ron Larson was rolling it in the wrong position. Now we've got him righted. So Ryan Litt had made his way by that yellow and green number 22. But he'll have to be placed back as that last completed lap. He made 2 passes. He got to the inside of that 22 car. Corey Lockwood, but did not complete the pass, and they went back a lap to get the realignment here.
So Roahrig has moved up to the inside of Sneva. That's a huge advantage for him. Not sure how that unfolded unless he got him at the line just before the yellow came out. We didn't see that. Green flag is back out, and we're racing. Top 6 going through.
Outside line are moving forward. Newton's moving backwards in that Honest Abe Plumbing 16.
Sneva's hung on the outside there in the 64, and he's going to get the pass done. That'll put him up to 4th, so he gives him a little bit of breathing room here. Almond continues to lead over Leary, Bergener, Newton, Sneva, Roahrig. That timing and scoring has him listed right now. Looks like Roahrig, or I should say Sneva, is now, yep, it's right in Sneva right behind Bergener.
Roahrig in 7th, Litt in 8th. Both of those drivers now losing grip and losing time to transfer in at halfway point.
Noffsinger has picked up a spot. He's running in 11th. He still needs about 5 more, as we are inside of 10 laps remaining here.
CJ Lockwood, the yellow and blue number the yellow 22 with the green trim now racing. This is where the transfer is going to happen. If anybody moves forward, they got to get around Lockwood to get it.
Great shot from our drone camera. You can see the D shape on the backstretch here. Roahrig trying to get to the inside of the 22. That's Lockwood. Roahrig is now once again 1 spot out of it. Roahrig is the last transfer car. That yellow 22 right now.
Troy DeCare, the 2-time must-see champ, has pulled to the infield in the P1.
That's a shame. That's a good-looking race car. Meanwhile, Almond continuing out front, has pulled away from Leary.
Whoa!
Whoa, trouble there, and Roahrig gets turned around and collects Litt in the process. Litt had worked his way up to 8th. Both of them were fighting to try to get those final 2 transfer spots. And now they're out.
Roahrig was to the back of the 22 of Lockwood. That was for the transfer spot right there. Hopes deflated by both of those veteran racers. Ryan Litt racing in the must-see racing out of London, Ontario, Canada. And Tyler Roahrig, the perennial favorite and former champion in the 500 Sprint Car Tour. The yellow car in the transfer spot. Newton is the car ahead. Roahrig goes in the corner. That's the slow car on the inside. That white and red number 8 changed Newton's line on entry.
And he just got into the back of Newton, and around it went, and then Ryan Litt had absolutely nowhere to go. All right, we can go down to Ashton.
2 front runners we see a lot and all sorts of different open wheel action with Tyler Roahrig and Ryan Litt involved. I had an opportunity to catch up with the 07 driver and his crew earlier on today. They had a rough day yesterday, had to replace the rear end, but he told me that while going through the car and changing those things, they found some other things that made them faster. He was second fastest in practice earlier on today, so he was really confident that he was going to be able to make his way into the A-main and have a top 5 potential car, but it looks like with only 5 laps left, he might have an early end to his night.
And if Roahrig doesn't have damage like Larson does, his night has gotten a lot shorter, and he'll have to start behind a whole lot of really good cars to make his way through in these final 5 laps.
As challenging as the aero is on these cars at these speeds on this track, that front wing like that can't make it any easier. This will be the super modified A-main scheduled for 40 laps. Everybody's hoping to see Otto Sitterly and Davey Hamilton battle for the win, but they're pretty good. But there's an 83-year-old in the field who might have a little something for the young bucks up front.
83-year young man. Ken Hamilton, that's Davey Hamilton Jr.'s grandpa. He's going to race against his boy, Davey Hamilton Jr. in that one. It's going to be fun to watch. Or a special event like this one, watching the teams work on them, they've all been there for a long time. These cars are not the brand new ones. Even some of these sprint cars have age on them in the Carolinas.
Support of the modified tour event.
Yeah, you got to check that out if you're ever in the region, or you can check out their website. Man, it's amazing.
Tour style event, I guess would be the way to say it.
Speed Tour, you can go through the Meridian Speedway website to find out their schedule as well, or their Facebook page. I'm telling you, you need to check them out.
Yep, great cars. So they got through Caraway with just a little bit of damage, and they're here ready to go racing. All right, and we're ready to get back at it with 5 laps remaining here in our sprint car B main event. Leary in the 6, Almond in the 8. Almond on the inside. Once this one settled down, wasn't too wide anymore, he took the lead.
5 laps to decide it. Brad Noffsinger, the first car, that black number 6 on the inside is the 7th restart car. Black 27 is Hathaway.
Noffsinger might make a transfer spot here if he can get 1 or 2 more cars. All right, here we go, looking for the green. We're underway. Things get a little wild deeper in the field.
Lockwood had to step out there on that slow pace on the restart. Noffsinger to the infield.
To the lead, and here comes Sneva now up to 3rd, and Noffsinger brings out the yellow. He was right there, Jim.
I think others behind him might have felt the same. Hey, if we get through this, if we get on the gas sooner, might have cost Noffsinger a transfer spot. Under the lights and the cold conditions, that appeared to be something that maybe Noffsinger couldn't do much about from behind.
Well, we got a replay here. Let's take a look at it.
So Lockwood stepping on the yellow car on the initial start kind of got things jumbled up here as he came to the green flag.
Noffsinger's on the inside. Lockwood's on the outside. Oh, up the inside came another 22. And then still watching Noffsinger. Looks like somebody got him on the bottom. A little contact just turned him.
The urgency to get in the big show. You tow all this way. Some drivers coming upwards of 2,800 miles from Massachusetts.
I'm not sure who gets the long tow award if there was one this year. Do you?
Not quite certain. London, Ontario, I know, is 3,500 kilometers away. That's what Ryan Litt traveled to get here, and he's still in the back of the pack after that spin. There's transfer.
Looks like Jeff Wade pulling into the infield as well in the 94.
Wade was in the middle of that scrum when they were going 3 wide with the 22 of Larson going through the infield there to gain spots.
And again, if you have an issue with your car, you're supposed to pull into the infield, not off the racetrack.
Gotcha.
and stay there until the end of the event. Still 5 laps remaining. Noffsinger's going to have to pull out a real magic trick that would rival anything you could see in one of the showrooms down on the strip later tonight if he wants to get back to 6th.
So for the drivers that are not able to finish top 6 in this one, they had better have gotten their qualifying right, because the 6 out of this race are added to the back of the field to make it a 24-car field. 2 provisionals will come out of the cars that have not already transferred in or raced their way to the A, and they'll come based upon qualifying speeds.
All right, everybody finally looks like they're in place. It's getting a little sketchy there, lined up initially coming into 3, but now we're ready. Here's the green, and we're underway. Leary with a great jump.
Locks it down, came right across the nose when needed to on Almond to shut down the inside for a moment.
CJ Leary goes to the lead. Sneva goes to 3rd. Almond holds down 2nd. And then Lockwood right there in the 22.
Bergeron gave his right rear a pounce, or left rear a pounce on the restart there. Here comes Newton on the inside. Natalie Waters is racing up to a transfer spot, potentially in that orange and black number 1.
Yep, she's there right now. Oh, she's 1 spot out in 7th. Thought she was in there. Leary, 2 to go. What can Natalie Waters do here? Watching her slide the number 1 off the 4 as we see Leary down the backstretch, getting ready for the white flag this time by. CJ Leary, white flag, 1 more lap. And he's on his way to the A and a shot at 50 grand. Coming to the checkered flag. CJ Leary waits to the last restart, makes the move, takes the win. Ahmed will hold on for 2nd. Sneva takes 3rd. Lockwood will grab 4th. Bergener and Newton will be the top 6. Now, Jim, we just have to check to see who the 2 provisionals are with the quickest qualifying times. Don't know if Natalie Waters will be one of those.
Cars roll off the turn 1. This is a great shot here. The cars roll down. The bottom of the hill is the scale. One thing that was brought up from some of the veterans that are here is that I would like the idea we're going through a thorough tech on Thursday, thorough tech on Friday. Making sure that we're not just an open show. This is you got to run what we have for our rules. And they've been published for months now on the website by division. Haven't changed at all. So they like the idea that, yes, the technical inspection is enforced throughout the entire event, not just once or twice. So
yep.
Nice job by CJ Leary to put it in the show. Brad Almond's going to race his 2nd straight A main in the 2 open wheel showdowns, and TJ Sneva has made his way in after finishing 3rd in the B main.